My name is Macy and I'm 22 years old. I'm a college student who lives in an apartment in the Netherlands. Currently I live on my own, because I'm too introverted to get a girlfriend, so I spend most of my days at home. I'm the type of person who loves classic animes. I can watch them endlessly. Classic anime series, like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun, Slam Dunk and Great Teacher Onizuka put a big smile in my face. They remind me of the good old days. A few months ago I came across a classic anime that goes by the name of Ashita no Joe. It's an anime from the 70s. The anime is about an orphan boy named Joe who is aspired to become a professional boxer. I finished the whole series, including the second season of the show, and I wasn't disappointed. The anime was funny, charming, and emotional. It had left a big impact on me. At one point, I was even inspired to try some boxing myself, so it became one of my absolute favorites. A week later, after I finished the series, I decided to create an account on myanimelist.net, a community where all anime fans from around the world gather together to keep track of the animes they watched or plan to watch. Personally, I was looking through the discussion section of the website. My eyes were fixated on a topic title. Ashita no Joe fan topic, I read. Curiously, I clicked on the topic and I left a comment about how amazing the anime is. A few minutes passed. Suddenly I received a notification. An unknown user has sent me a private message. His or her username consisted of random numbers and letters and the profile picture of the user was completely white, but I didn't pay attention to it at that time, since I wasn't suspecting anything strange. The user shared a video file with me. Ashita no Joe Lost Episode was the name of the file. At first, I thought it was some sort of joke or prank. However, when my curiosity got the better of me, I've downloaded and opened the file to see what it is. Immediately I regretted my improvident decision, because it could potentially be a computer virus or something. A window popped up and a video started to play. The first minute of the video was nothing but pitch blackness. Afterwards there was a scene where a depressed Joe was walking in the rain with his head down and his hands in his pockets. Both the animation and music didn't differ from other episodes and so far everything seemed normal. I think this particular scene took place in the prison arc, where Joe was staying in juvenile detention center as a result of his criminal behavior, in view of the fact that he was wearing his prison clothes. Joe stood still and took a piece of paper out of his pocket. Angrily, he ripped it to pieces. My presumption is that the scene took place at the moment where Tanpei, the coach of Joe, was abandoning Joe to train Aoyama, the opponent of Joe, as part of his cunning strategy. Right after he ripped the piece of paper to pieces, Joe started to run really fast in the rain with tears in his eyes. He stopped running when he faced a barbed wire fence. All of a sudden, someone appeared behind him. Joe turned around and saw another inmate. The inmate had a deformed face and he was looking at Joe with a subtle grin on his face. I've never seen the inmate before in other episodes. "Who are you?" Joe asked. The absurd inmate didn't respond at all and he fell to the ground. He was making strange movements on the ground, as if he was experiencing seizures. "What the hell is going on?" Joe asked, very frightened. The inmate stopped moving. As I was watching in terror, he slowly but surely stood up. He looked at Joe with bloodshot eyes and a morbid smile. My heart was pounding in my chest, because of the suspense. Right after Joe took his boxing stance, the inmate pushed Joe with supernatural force against the barbed wire fence behind him. Joe let out a horrible scream, while he was bleeding to death on the barbed wire fence. I almost fell out of my chair. That was an extremely realistic scream, especially for an anime from the 70s. The inmate came closer to Joe's lifeless body and whispered something in Latin. Unfortunately, I couldn't exactly make out what he whispered. "Tu autem perfectum sacrificium," he whispered, or something along those lines. The episode ended with a black screen, without the typical ending theme song. I was still completely in shock, since I didn't expect that at all. I experienced shortness of breath, so I went to the kitchen for a glass of water. When I returned to the living room, I grabbed my laptop and I tried to replay the video file. To my big surprise, the file showed an error. I couldn't play it anymore. Stunned by this whole incident, I returned to myanimalist.net and I tried to find the mysterious user who shared the file with me. To my shock, I found out that the user was banned, because he supposedly violated the guidelines of the website. I desperately tried to do some research on the lost episode, but I couldn't find any references or sources. Once I shared this experience on Reddit, but most of the users brushed my story off as a mediocre troll or a cheap creepypasta, except for a few religious people and people who are interested in the paranormal. Consulting a psychologist is not an option for me, since my experience is extraordinary, which makes it unbelievable in the first place. To this day, I'm still creeped out by it and I want to remember it as a nightmare, rather than something that truly happened. Thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe and see you the next time.